Hello, welcome back to the Ice Bath Sports Channel. I'm Matt, and this is what should be the final NFL mock draft of the 2024 season for Ice Bath Sports at the very least. We're on NFL mock draft database right now. Let's jump right into it. There's a lot of information that's come out since the last time we put out a mock draft. But the Bears, they've traded Justin Fields. He is now a Pittsburgh Steeler. That all but confirms Caleb Williams is going number one overall. Now, Washington, I think it's between two players here. I know it's between two players here. It's either going to be Drake Maye or Jaden Daniels. They traded Sam Howell. They wanted a fresh start. They want to get their franchise quarterback. They're picking number two overall. Now, I think Drake Maye, in my personal opinion, I think Drake Maye is going to be a great quarterback. I think he is the second coming of Justin Herbert. A little smaller, but I think Washington and the offense they're going to be running through Cliff Kingsbury is going to be better fitted for Jaden Daniels. The NFL is moving towards that dual threat quarterback. They already kind of have. And as much as I love Drake Maye, and I think he should be the second quarterback off the board, I think Washington and what they're trying to build is more fitting for Jaden Daniels. So Daniels going 2 overall to Washington. RG3, second coming? Who knows? Now the Patriots have said that they will move out of this spot if the right price is presented to them. But as of right now, I don't know. Does that mean that they're okay with not taking a quarterback? You got that Bailey Zappi and Jacoby Brissett as your two QBs right now in New England. I've seen a lot of reports with them linked to J.J. McCarthy, though. He's rising up boards pretty fast over the past couple of months, and I think it'd be a pretty Patriots thing to do, to skip over Drake Maye. Both Drake Maye and J.J. McCarthy are going to be projects. I think Drake Maye is probably more pro-ready than J.J. McCarthy, but I think there's so much hype around J.J. McCarthy right now that I'm going to do McCarthy to the Patriots. A little bit of a bold take, which means Arizona here, pick 4. They want Marvin Harrison Jr. I think that's pretty cut and clear. I'm gonna have Marvin Harrison Jr. go to Arizona. They need a receiver. They have Kyler Murray quarterback, and I think they could trade out of that spot, but I don't think they do here. Now the Chargers are interesting. I actually have the Chargers. I'm gonna have them. I wasn't gonna do trades, but I really do think that if this situation in this scenario happens, that they would be trading out of this spot. And who but to move up except the Minnesota Vikings? So the Vikings would be giving 2 of their firsts to the Chargers. This isn't accurate. I just got to make this more even. Yeah, it'd be more so like pick 5 for pick 11, 23 a first next year, and maybe like a third. But I'm trying to appease this trade machine. But yes, Minnesota's now picking at 5. I think they take Drake Maye. I think Drake Maye is a steal here at 5. I think if you're Minnesota, you're definitely giving up that draft capital to move up, and you're skipping over the Giants, who now, I think they're going to go receiver anyways, but I think with all the quarterbacks going off the board, it kind of makes the decision easy for them. And it's between Nabers and Adonai. I'm a bigger Nabers fan, to be honest. I think Odunze is going to be a great option in the NFL. I think he's going to be a receiver 1, but I think Nabers actually might contest Marvin Harrison Jr. for the best receiver in the draft. I think they're kind of 1A, 1B. So I'm going Nabers to New York. They need a wide receiver desperately. Tennessee, they're locked in. They're taking offensive tackle. Joe Alt seems to be a consensus 1. I am a huge fan of Olu Fashanu, but he has fallen a lot in a lot of people's eyes. I'm taking Joe Alt at 7. Now, that brings us to the Falcons at 8. Falcons have shown the last 3 years, last 3 first rounds, they are not afraid to take an offensive weapon in the first. We saw it with Kyle Pitts in 2021, Drake London 2022, Bijan Robinson 2023. All high picks that they took on the best available offensive player. Now, Odunze, I think, could be a dark horse candidate because, with how they've been running things, I think that is definitely a possibility. But you need to address the edge. You brought in Kirk Cousins on offense at quarterback, and you have all these offensive weapons already. But I think you need to tighten up that defense a little bit. I think Dallas Turner is by far the best edge rusher in this draft class. he's going to Atlanta. And now we have Chicago at pick 9. The popular pick here has been Odunze. I don't like that pick. I mean, you have DJ Moore, and you trade for Keenan Allen. I know Keenan Allen's probably done after this year. DJ Moore, I'm not sure if he's done after this year, like free agent wise. I think he's locked up for another year or two. But I mean, this is a team that I think you got to improve that offensive line a little bit. I mean, the offensive line still had some glaring issues last season. I mean, you have some young tackles back there, but Olu Fashanu's a surefire left tackle. You can bring him in, and you can get Caleb Williams, blindside protected for the future. You have Darnell Wright, who you drafted last year, so he's on one side. You have Fashanu on the other. I think, is it Braxton Jones is their other tackle? Maybe move him inside. I really think this could be a surprise pick. I mean, because you have Cole Kmet at tight end. You don't really need him. I mean, Odunze is just a luxury pick. Or I could also see an edge, actually. This is a tough one because Fashanu being there, I know I just talked about protecting Caleb Williams, but why not address the other side of the ball too? Latu is a great edge, but I think Jared Verse is probably the next guy on my board, just because Latu's injury history scares me. Now, we have the Jets. Now, the thing with the Jets, I mean, you have Odunze still here. That he's fallen in this sense. I could see them going Brock Bowers, Odunze. I can see them going Fashanu. I also see them linked to Fuaga a lot. But, I mean, you brought in Mike Williams. You have him, Garrett Wilson. Oh, man, I really think you need to get some protection for Rodgers, though. I'm so split. I wish I had Griff here today because then he could really tell me what he'd want. But, man, yeah, I think you have weapons. I think Aaron Rodgers makes everybody around him better. I think I'm going to go offense tackle. I'm going to go for Fashanu because Morgan Moses and Tyron Smith are the two bookend tackles for the Jets that they brought in this offseason in free agency. And those two are notorious for being injury prone. I know Odunze and Bowers are falling, but there's so much offensive talent in this draft. I don't think everybody's going to go top 10. You know what I mean? You have about 15, 20 guys that might be able to go top 10, and only 10 guys can. So Chargers, falling right into their laps is Rome Odunze. You get receiver you probably consider taking at pick 5, and you picked up another first-round pick and whatever else you get. Now we have the Denver Broncos, which this is a really interesting situation for the Broncos because the Broncos today just traded for Zach Wilson. Now Zach Wilson has definitely had a lot of struggles when he was with New York, but I mean there's a lot of different ways they could go with this pick. Are Penix and Nix going to be considered this high up in the draft? Is what it comes down to. I think the Broncos are probably going to stick with Wilson for the year, though. I mean, you have him, Stidham, and Ben DiNucci. So, what's the next best area of need for them? I mean, there's a lot of rumors about them trading Surtain. I could see them trading out of this pick. I think that's the most reasonable of the options, but I think Terrion Arnold's got to be the pick here. I don't know who, if you're going to trade out of that pick, you need somebody that wants to trade up. And at that point, who wants to trade up? Speaking of trading up, I think the Colts are going to see that Bowers is still on the board. And I could see Indy trading up with the Raiders. It wouldn't really take much, probably a third to move up 2 spots, So I'm going to do it. I'm going to have the Colts jump the Saints to secure Brock Bowers. Because I think that'd be a great fit in Indianapolis. Get a kind of great receiving threat in your tight end for Anthony Richardson coming into his second season. Now we have the Saints at pick 14. O-tackle is definitely a big need for them. I could also see receiver. Is Brian Thomas in question here? This is such a deep wide receiver class, though. That's what I keep coming back to. I think someone like Fuaga is probably the more sensible draft pick here for the Saints. So that's who I'm going. Fuaga's an absolute mauler. Now we have the Raiders, who traded back into pick 15, picked up a third. Man, I like Nix better than Penix, but there's a lot of reports I'm reading that says the Raiders are big fans of Penix. So I'm gonna pull the trigger. I'm taking Penix here at 15. I think it's too high for him in my opinion, especially with like his injury history. There's so many things that are questionable with his health. I know they've said like he's been cleared on a lot, but with something like knee injuries, once you start having one or two, it's not a one-off thing. I feel it's coming from somebody who's had knee injuries in the past. They seem to kind of burden you for your entire life. Now we're down to Seattle, pick 16. If I'm Seattle, they have such a above average team, but they're not spectacular anywhere. That I think. I think their interior offensive line could use some help. You're looking at Graham Barton, Jackson Powers-Johnson, or you have Troy Fautanu, who's from Washington. Seattle's in Washington. Not too far from, the Seahawks facility. And Fautanu can play tackle. He can play guard. Probably not center, but he's a versatile offensive lineman, and why not? It makes too much sense not to do that. Now we have the Jaguars. Quinyon Mitchell's still here. Jags are another team. I feel like they're average or above average at a lot of positions. I don't think Brian Thomas is out of the question for me personally. I know they signed Gabe Davis, and you have him, Kirk, and Zay Jones, but none of those guys. I mean, Kirk is like a really, really good number 2, but none of those guys are really a 1. But again, it's a deep receiver class. So with cornerback being their biggest team need here, and I kind of agree with that. I think Quinyon Mitchell. I think he's going to stop falling here. I think Quinyon Mitchell is probably going to be the best corner in the draft class, in my personal opinion. So yeah, why not have Jacksonville take him there? So Bengals, they brought in Trent Brown. They have Trent Brown on one side, Orlando Brown on the other. I could see them taking a big guy like Amarius Mims to develop behind them. Because, Orlando Brown's kind of young, but Trent Brown's getting up there. And it feels like they have these one-year rentals every year at offensive tackle. But you lost Tyler Boyd. T. Higgins is on a 1-year deal. Why not get another LSU receiver to bring in to give another weapon to Joe Burrow? And you get, a great weapon this year. And, you could trade T. Higgins after this year, by the trade deadline or whatever. I think Brian Thomas could be a sneaky good pick for them there. Now we have the Rams at 19. This is an edge. I think edge is a fair assessment here. I can see them showing up adding to their offensive line. I think cornerback could be a good pick here as well. But Latu is here. If they can get past the injury concerns, which they're usually, pretty good at addressing health with players, I think Latu would be a beast in the NFL. Like I said, if he can stay healthy, I'm having the Rams take him here. Now with the Steelers, this is saying offensive tackle. I agree with offensive tackle. I think they definitely could improve the bookends of that offensive line and, gives Russ some time to cook. I think J.C. Latham is my next guy. I know I'm going in order, but these rankings I kind of agree with for the most part. So I do think Latham is probably my next guy off the board. And, what do they have Broderick Jones too? Is that who they got last year? Latham and Broderick Jones, your bookends of the future? Nice. I like it. Now we have the Dolphins. The Dolphins, I think D-line, you lost Christian Wilkins. That's going to be a big hit to that defense. And although, offensive line is always going to be a need for the Miami Dolphins, but I think Byron Murphy is probably the pick here. You need to, get strong up front, get strong in the trenches. That brings us to my Philadelphia Eagles at pick 22. As much as I want us to go Chop Robinson, and I think that would be a very Howie Roseman pick. We have our pick of cornerbacks here, and we've done a lot of research on the cornerbacks. There's been a lot of rumors that Philly's going to move up for a cornerback, but I'd be more than happy with these three options here at 22. Now, here's where it's like a scratch-off ticket, right? Like, which one of these guys is going to hit? Now, if you're looking for athletic ability, you have Nate Wiggins. If you're looking for coverage ability, you have Kool-Aid McKinstry. If you're looking for a little bit of both, you have Cooper DeJean. We brought in DeJean for a top 30 visit. So, I'm a big fan of DeJean. I'm going to go Cooper DeJean here. I don't think that'll be our pick, but it's my mock draft. I'm going to do what I want. Now we have the Chargers here back on the clock at pick 23. They already have Rome Odunze, who they got at 11, as shores up a receiver need. Now, they could go corner, but we all know Harbaugh loves, his trench guys, his hog mollies, so to say. And, Marius Mims is just a beast of a man. Both him and Guyton are kind of a little bit of projects. But I think Marius Mims, with his small sample size in college, did show out to be pretty talented. So I'm going to go Marius Mims here. They address, two big needs right here in the first round. We have Dallas here at 24. They lost Stephon Gilmore, but you have Trayvon Diggs coming off of injury. And who's that kid last year that led the league in interceptions? I'm totally blanking on his name, but he was also a pretty solid corner. I don't think corner is a big area of need for them. Although there's two great guys still on the board. Offensive line, another area of need. I think Tyler Guyton out of Oklahoma actually might be the pick here. You lost Tyron Smith, not that he was healthy much anyways, but you want to continue to rebuild through the trenches. They already did they get Tyler Smith last year or the year before. He looked pretty good. Continue that through here. And we have Green Bay at pick 25. This is a team that definitely needs O-line help, but I don't think there's anybody really worth taking unless you're going like a Graham Barton. But I think either Wiggins or McKinstry. I think the Packers are a team that's going to value film more so than athletic ability. I think Kool-Aid McKinstry makes more sense here for Green Bay. I do like Nate Wiggins, though. Now we have Tampa. They definitely need an edge. They also need interior offensive line help, but I think Chop Robinson's fall stops here. I'm a huge Chop Robinson fan. I think you'd be a great addition to this Tampa defense. Arizona here at 27. At pick 4, they took Harrison Jr. Now, 27, what do you address here? I feel like the Cardinals have so many areas of need that they can improve upon. With that said, looking at the top, you have Johnny Newton still on the board. Nate Wiggins. I think Nate Wiggins would be a great pick here. Because there is some defensive line guys that they can get in the second or third. T'Vondre Sweat's falling. Mason Smith is a little bit of a project, but has upside. Braden Fisk, an athletic freak. I do like Johnny Newton, but I don't know. I don't think there's an edge worth taking at this spot. I could see a Graham Barton continue to improve that offense, but the defense still needs a little help too. Safety, corner. I think I'm gonna do Nate Wiggins. I think Nate Wiggins is too much value here at pick 27 for Arizona to pass up on. And now we have the Buffalo Bills at pick 28. There's a lot that's been coming out about Adonai Mitchell. And the Bills really do need receiver help. They're starting wide receivers are Khalil Shakir, Curtis Samuel, Mac Hollins. They need a one. Adonai Mitchell has everything you want in a number one receiver. Height, weight, speed, good hands. McConkey's another guy that I think might slip into the first. I think they could surprise somebody and go like a Troy Franklin. Xavier Worthy, obviously his speed is huge. But I'm going to go Adonai Mitchell. There's been a lot of reports about him, his blood sugar and whatnot, but I don't really read too much into that kind of information this late in the draft. Or draft season, I should say. Now we have Detroit at pick 29. Cornerback help. You could go there. Could go interior offensive line. Could go D-line. I think Graham Barton. I'm sorry, not Graham Barton. I think Johnny Newton might be the pick here, honestly. He's seems like what's his name? What's their coach's name? Dan Campbell type of guy. And, I mean, defensive line was a little bit of an area of a need for Detroit last season. You have Ali McNeil, who looked better, and then who is their other guy? They have somebody else that's pretty solid too, but Johnny Newton could come in. He can rush the passer. He can, stop the run. He can really do it all. Baltimore, I think Baltimore can trade out of this spot, but, I mean, who still needs a quarterback that hasn't taken a quarterback already? I mean, Denver, I don't know. I think Bo Nix is going to fall into the second. But if somebody were considering taking him, I could see them calling Baltimore here at pick 30 to trade up. Baltimore, though, they could use some offensive line help. Actually, you know what? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go Graham Barton. He can play any position on the offensive line, and Baltimore values players like him. Now, we have the Niners at pick 31. They definitely need offensive tackle. They need it really badly. But, I could see going receiver. Brent Ayuk is kind of, in limbo right now. Are they going to re-sign him? Are they going to trade him? What are they going to do? Edge on the other side of Bosa. But, again, there's not really anybody worth taking. Jackson Power-Johnson is a great option here. But he's, more suited to be a center at the next level. I think they need to upgrade that offensive line a little bit. I like Paul. I like Sumatea. But I think Jordan Morgan, I love Jordan Morgan. I think he is going to be a stud. I think he'd be a nice fit here in San Francisco. He can play tackle. He can play guard, wherever they want to stick him. And finally, KC. This is just because it'd be fun to watch. And, well, I'd actually hate this pick because it'd be so dominant. But Xavier Worthy to KC. That kind of speed, Tyreek Hill 2.0, right? Mahomes got a deep ball of an arm. So we did two trades. Minnesota trading up with the Chargers, and Vegas trading down with the Colts, so the Colts can move up for Bowers. So this is a quick just overview of how the draft turned out. Williams, Daniels, McCarthy. 3 quarterbacks going. Harrison, May. 4 quarterbacks in the top 5 is a lot, but with how much talent is in this draft class, I could see it. It's kind of standard the first 9 picks. I feel like we have a couple guys, falling here, and Fashanu and Odunze. Arnold's kind of a standard pick. Bowers, a little bit of a standard pick. I think Penix is a little bit of a reach here, but I could see that happening. I'm liking how this mock draft looks, actually. It's a combination of what I think will happen, what I think a team should do at the position, and so on and so forth. But, let me know what you think in the comments. And also, make sure to comment who you want your favorite team to draft on Thursday. So, that's going to do it. Make sure to, follow us on all socials, and like this video, subscribe, and stay cool.